Okay, so I'm just going to show a basic selection screen, how to code a selection screen that can take a specific table and the number of records you want to display, and then you can just click to execute it. I'll just show you how the whole scenario would look. So let's say I have two parameters here. One takes the table name. So let's say I put the table SPFLI. So this normal table in SAP NetWeaver. I mean, if you installed it in like a trial version of it, let's say I want 5 records from that. If I execute it, I'm gonna get 5 records in the ALV format. So let's say let's take another table, for example. Yeah. So this normal database table I created. So yeah, you can see I'm a football fan, so don't mind the data, but you can like select any table you want and choose the number of records you want, maybe 10 or any number of records. It's an integers. On 10 records you can get 10 records. So let's just get into the coding. Actually, let's see how we can code something like this. So let's go into a new table as such. Okay, fine. So let's begin that. So first things first, we'll be creating the interface for taking the input, the basic selection screen. So this layout of the selection screen, let's create that. Okay, let's go in here. So let's start with selection screen, comment, starts at the first position with a length of 30 characters. And let's assign a text object to it. So basically what text objects do is that you can specify a text symbol for something. So if I say text 001, you can specify the, let's say I've put corresponding to text 001, specify the table, right? So that comment will be visible in the screen, right? It's already created in mine, but you can just double click on this, activate that, and continue, right? That'll simply show the comment on the screen. Then let's create a selection screen block. So what a selection screen block does is that you can create that nice little frame we saw here. So this nice little frame, if you want to do that, you can use that with blocks. Big enough block 1, let's say width frame, and let's name the parameters. Let's say the parameter name is enter, just like we gave in the original one. Enter type character and length, let's say 20. So it can take table name for maximum of 20 characters. You can extend it if you want. And selection screen, end of block 1. That's it. So let's just check the code, activate it, and let's run that. So you can see, specify the table, you can enter the table code that you want. Maybe you can even give a default value. Maybe you want to give default some table, maybe SPF, anything can be fine, right? And then let's create one more selection screen block that can take the number of records, right? So being of block 2 with frame, sorry, block 2 with frame. So the parameters here again would be this time number of records. So let's just say again another enter, but let's say num type I, it's an integer, and then you can close this block as such. So end of block 2. That's good. So now if you check the code, activate it and run it, yeah. So here you can give the number of records you want, and this is the table that you wanted. So now the way that we are gonna display the input of any table as such. So we'll be creating dynamic internal table and work areas. So this is a very interesting concept, I would say, in ABAP. A lot of people generally, I don't know, are aware of it or not, but this is something I feel is generally important. So I'll just explain the whole process as we code along. So we'll be using this class builder, okay, CLSALV table. So this is generally used to print in ALV format. So this has a number of functions, number of methods actually, which would like help in getting you instances into the ALV table object. So let's just jump into the code actually. Yep. So first things first, we're gonna define a field symbols, right? Field symbols are basically like used to, used as a reference as such to create a data table or a reference to any type actually. I would say that field symbols are very important in general when you are trying to use something as a placeholder. Right? So let's say I'm going to create a field symbol called f table, and f table type any table. So basically it's just a placeholder, symbolic name for that. And then we're going to create a data reference, right? So because we are going to create a work area that can store the records of this table. So we're going to create the work area now. Let's say data wref. So now we're going to self-reference it to data itself. So what that would mean is basically these are called data references. So they're pointers to data objects, right? So this is one of the ways to assign anything to a particularly when we try to create dynamic tables on the run. Data referencing is a very useful tool. So now let's create the work area. So it's a type table of whatever you enter. So the enter is the parameter that you're going to enter. So let's put that in a bracket, right? So that's suggesting that you're going to create a work area of the type table, and that table is what you're going to enter. And then the next thing we do is, now that we have the field symbol f table that is of type any table, we have to assign this data, this work area type, right, to the field symbol that we have created, right? So that's simple. Just code this. So this basically what this does is you're assigning uh, this work area type, which is of the type the table that you've entered, to this field symbol F table, and then uh, we're going to use, like I previously mentioned, the CL SALV table class, right? Um, so we're going to create another data object that can, let's say, ALV ALV1 or anything you want to name. So we are going to create the reference to CLSALV table. So I think I already showed you in the video in the SE224 decode what that does, right? So these are the parameters that we're going to define outside the selection screen blocks, right? So once that is done, let's start the selection, and now we're going to select. So normally when you select all entries from table, you use select star from a particular table. So now select star from, enter, right? Enter is what you're entering here. That's the parameter into table uh, F table, right? The reference, the field symbol that we created, right? It's the symbolic thing for the type of that up to n rows. So the number of rows you are entering as num, right? So up to num rows, right? So once that is done, you just have to call the method as such, right? Just call the method CLSALV table, and since it's we're going to use the method factory, so the method factory, if I can just show you, yeah. So the method factory is a static method, right? So since it's a static method, you have to access it with an equal to and an arrow sign, right? So I'm gonna access that method, and you're gonna import, right? We're gonna import the RSALV table. So that's the importing parameter that we're gonna use, and set that to this ALV1 data object. So this is basically a reference to that, right? This basically contains the ALV, I mean the table in the the ALV grid format, right? And then we're going to use the changing T table equal to F table, the table into which you are writing from the table name that you entered. You can just that there, and then all you have to do is use the ALV1 again and use the display method. Sorry, yeah. So that's it. The code is basically done. Just do a syntax check. Okay, the syntax, no value was passed. Okay, yeah, just remove that full stop. That should be fine. Yeah. So now that you've got the code is complete, let's just activate it. let's just run that. Let's say I want to take a look at table SPFLI. Let's say I want 7 records. So it's going to show me 7 records from that table in an ALV format, right? So you can choose any table as such. Mine is a practice system, so I don't really have a lot of tables.